And we are back. Very many thanks for choosing to stay with us. And just in case you're joining us right now, welcome to Kenya's Gold, where the focus of the day is on fish farming in Kenya. We do want to jump into our gold conversation in a short while, but for now, let us have a look at fish production in Lake Turkana, as it will be forming part of our conversation with the guest. Now, when you're talking about our sources of fish, we do have three main sources, and we have aquaculture, which accounts for 14% of the total fish farmed in Kenya. And when you're talking about aquaculture, this is the more controlled system of farming fish, your cages and your fish ponds as well. We do have the marine capture fisheries. This is the fishing along the Kenyan coastline, and this accounts for 19% of the total fish farmed in Kenya. And finally, we do have the inland waters, which accounts for 67% of the total fish farmed in Kenya. Remember, Lake Victoria is the most significant of these lakes, but also we do have the likes of Lake Turkana, Lake Naivasha, which also contribute significantly to the fish farmed in Kenya. Now, if we have a look at production in Lake Turkana over the last recent years, first, it's important to note that Lake Turkana has about 48 species of fish. Now, if we have a look at what happened in 2018, and this is going to be production in metric tons and the value financially in Kenya shillings. So the production in 2018 was 7,587 metric tons, and the value of the same was at 564 million. In 2019, there was a dip in production all the way to 7,031, but the value was at 645 million Kenya shillings. In 2020, the production increased from 7,031 to 13,190, and the value was at 1.2 billion shilling, an increase there. In 2021, the production increased to 15,644, and the value in Kenya shillings was at 1.5 billion. And finally, in 2022, the production was at 17,251, and the value of the same was at 3.4 billion Kenya shillings. Now, this is how the production has been in Lake Turkana from the years 2018 to 2022, and this data has been verified by Fisheries Statistics Bulletin of 2022. And of course, as you can see in the set, our guest, Mr. John Eric, who is the technical project manager at Lattice Aquaculture, is very present, ready to spit some facts on aquaculture and entire fisheries at large. Thank you so very much for making time to be with us today.
Karibu sana Eric katika kipindi chetu siku ya leo. Asante sana Ngina kupitia graphics, vile vile umefafanua sana kuhusiana na zile ama aina mbalimbali ya samaki 48 kusema hivyo. Lakini Eric, swali langu la kwanza ambalo linafurahisha sana, kila mtu ambao unaona unapeleka maji yake kwenye mto Turkana, maji hayana chumvi, lakini yakiingia kule chumvi zinapatikana. Miujiza ipo wapi?
Si miujiza lakini ukiangalia Lake Turkana, it's what we call a terminal lake, because there's no natural water going to the Indian Ocean, so there's no outlet. So what happens is River Omo from Ethiopia that brings fresh water. In Kenya we have River Takwel and Kerio, all these have fresh water. When they get to the lake, there is no outlet. So what then happens is, since this is a Rift Valley lake, we know that around the Rift Valley we have a lot of volcanic activities, so all that residue is salty. So that's what accumulates, and then that's how you have a salty lake.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, John Eric, if we look at the production of fish in Lake Turkana from the years 2018 to 2022, yes, there's been a decrease between the years of 2018 to 2019, but thereafter there has been an increase in production, both in metric tons and also financially. However, it's not reflecting in the economic welfare of our farmers. Very quickly, you can tell us, where are we missing the mark? Why is it that, yes, there's fish, yes, there's some money, but the few fishermen who are there, it's not matching?
Yeah, when it comes to Lake Turkana, it's actually very, very interesting, because over time, the people around Lake Turkana used the lake as a backup. These are people who are pastoralists by nature, but then if you look at the statistics over the year, the catch is increasing, the volumes are going up. It's because these people are now adopting a more sedentary lifestyle. They don't move a lot, and because of the frequent droughts, we have livestock dying. So now a lake that was just a backup is now coming into mainstream as one of the main sources of livelihood and food for these people. So what then happens is you see that the value being caught from the lake is increasing with time, the catches in metric tons, but then the value is a different thing, because at Lattice and our partner Larive, we've done a research on the lake on economic, just doing an economic analysis. This was commissioned by the Dutch embassy. So what we found out is that, for example, tilapia, the value of tilapia in Nairobi is 38% more than the value of tilapia being caught in Lake Turkana. Nile perch, it's 50% less. And this because these people do not have access to cooling facilities. You've had akina Ikalo Kisema, they get the fish, they dry it, they salt it and dry it. Now fish, just like us, boast of their bodies water. So if you rely on salting and drying as your main preservation method, you lose value because you're selling fish that's not, it doesn't have a lot of weight compared to fresh fish. Right. Yeah.
So are we putting a lot of effort in fishermen in Lake Victoria and forgetting our fishermen in places like Lake Turkana? Because even the very basic, just one cooler, it's not present. You'll tell us about that and more when we come back from this short commercial break.
Okay.